So it's currently 5 in the morning and I'm heading to Rock Springs, one of my favorite springs in all of Florida. I tried going the other day, but the line just to get into the park was extremely long and I ended up turning around and coming back home. But I figured I would leave a little earlier today just so I can get a good spot in line. I applied for my dream job and I went through 2 interviews and I didn't end up getting it. And I was bummed for about 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, I was hit with a feeling of clarity and almost like happiness. I took it as a sign that I think I was meant to be in the outdoors and I was meant to do my kayaking tours, make videos on going to 500 springs. It's been about 2 months since I made my last video and I'm really excited to get back in, and I'm really excited to show you Rock Springs, one of my favorite springs in all of Florida. So waking up early really paid off because I'm the first one and the only one that's in line right now for the park. So we are down at the headspring and I am the only one down here right now. But what's cool about Rock Springs is you can see the actual cave where the water is coming from. Oh, there's an otter. Hey, little guy. Oh, there he goes. Well, that was a good surprise. This crystal clear water will flow about 9.5 miles all the way downstream until it meets the Wakiva River. And I'm really excited to get in, and I'm really excited we saw that otter over there. I'm gonna go back to my car and get my camera equipment, and we're gonna get in the water while I have it to myself and no one else is out here. So another cool thing about Rock Springs is you can actually find marine fossils all along the bottom here. And I have some dugong rib bones. They were kind of like a manatee. And I have some stingray mouth plates, an ancient seashell. But the coolest thing that you can find are shark teeth. And I have 2 shark teeth that I found so far. These are really old. These are probably around 3 million to 20 million years old. All of this was underwater at one point. This was an ancient ocean. So there were sharks and whales and dolphins and sea turtles all swimming here, and their fossils are scattered all along the bottom. But I'm gonna throw these back in the water and maybe someone else can find it. So I was floating down the river, I look over and I see this little waterfall. This is a perfect example of how a spring is created. You have the water that's running off. Over time, it naturally just cuts through the limestone and creates little caves and cavities. So I'm actually going to walk back here and see if there's another spring. This is clearly a spring run that goes back here into the woods. I've never seen another spring on this side. Yep, it looks like there's a spring right there. There's a little water boil right there. And you can see where the water's coming out from underground, right where that yellow leaf is. And it's created this pool, which turns into this little run. And it goes all the way out to the Rock Springs Run. But it's really cool and tropical back here. So that was unexpected. We got another spring on the list. Alright, I have 2 options. I can either get in my car and drive down the road and go to Wekiwa Springs, which is kind of boring, or Hana can meet me next door at the kayak launch and we can get our paddle boards and head 9.5 miles downstream, make a whole day out of it, see some cool stuff along the way, go to the Wakiva River, and then paddle upstream to Wekiwa Springs. I think the 9.5 mile paddle sounds a little bit more fun. Alright, I guess we're going to do the 9.5 mile paddle. Let's go. The water here is just incredibly clear. This is one of my favorite paddle trails in all of Florida, and you can see why. I mean, it's just like a tropical paradise out here. We got an egret over here. And that egret will spend its whole day looking for little fish and amphibians along the bank.
fact that I live just right down the road from this place is really nice. I can just come here basically whenever I want and fall down on my paddleboard. That was fun. I always say going downstream is harder than going upstream. But like I was saying, I live so close nearby, it's nice to just come here whenever I want. I've paddled here in the spring, in the summer, in the winter, in the fall, all the seasons. Springtime is definitely my favorite time to be out here. The water is just crystal clear and you see so much wildlife. I think we're gonna pull over and take a swim break. It sounds a little busy up here, but that's okay. Hello. There you go. It's okay. Ooh. It is quite busy on the river today, and that kayak just went right into my left shin. And it's a lot of tourists out here. I think they were from Germany. But you get these people that have never kayaked before, never paddleboarded before. And it's not their fault, they're just out here having a good time, but you gotta be careful, especially going downstream. They'll run right into you. But that one really hurt. That one dinged me right in the shin. I've actually never had that happen before. Hello.
Hello.
But the further downstream that we go, the less people there's gonna be. It's starting to pick up out here. It's a Friday and the weather is really nice. Everyone's coming out. But all of this water, this flows 9.5 miles downstream where it meets the Wakiva River. And from there, we're gonna paddle about a mile upstream until we get to Wekiwa Springs. So all of the water that we saw this morning, it flows all the way downriver, like I said, until it meets the Wakiva River. This water is extremely shallow and I'm running along the bottom and I'm stuck. Oh, that's pretty right there. Look at this great blue heron with a largemouth bass in its mouth. I don't know if you can see it, but it just flew over here and it's got a largemouth bass it just caught out of the river. So you can see the water is still clear. It's slowly becoming a little bit darker. The water is actually going to turn a tannin color, and we'll see more of that as we head downstream. It's not really going to be the turquoise blue water anymore until we reach Wekiwa Springs at the very end of this paddle. You can see these fish beds, and there's fish swimming. They're blue and gray. Those are blue tilapia, and I talked a little bit about them on my last video, but they're invasive to Florida. They come from Africa, so they're not supposed to be here. It's a problem in our freshwater springs. Oh, there's a Florida gar. It's a problem in our freshwater springs when we have invasive species that come in and they outcompete our native wildlife for territory and food and shelter. Look at this baby alligator on this log. That might be the cutest alligator I've ever seen in my life. What will happen is during alligator mating season, which is right now, it's April to June, the bigger alligators downstream will start pushing the smaller alligators further upstream, and you'll see them here on the Rock Springs run. You'll see the smaller alligators, and the further downstream we go, we'll see bigger alligators. Oh, there's another alligator back there, small one. Oh, there's some kind of water spider crawling on my foot. I'll let him hang out and hitch a ride. Another baby alligator. You can see its head just in the sun. There's another alligator right here on this log, small one. So these could be babies to the bigger ones. Gator hiding in the bushes right here. So today's video is sponsored by Visibility Forever, aka me, aka my small business. I do clear kayaking tours out along the Silver River at Silver Springs State Park, and we keep the group small. It's really a good time. We see manatees, we see alligators, we see otters, we might see monkeys, we see all types of birds and fish and turtles. You learn about the Florida Springs and you learn about the wildlife that inhabits the Florida Springs. It's a really fun tour. If you want to take a tour with me one day, I'll leave my website in the description, and you can just book directly through my website. It's very simple. You pick a day, you pick a time, and I meet you there and I take you out in a clear kayak and we go and explore the Silver River. I just wanted to shout my business out while we're out here on the water. And I mentioned this in episode 3, freshwater palm trees are way better than saltwater palm trees. If you know, you know. Sometimes when there's nowhere to pull over and the banks look like this, you got to kind of improvise and use a palm tree when you can. Right where we pulled over to take a break, there's a huge alligator on the bank. We didn't even see it. Gator swimming up ahead in the water. This is definitely an area that you don't want to fall into. I mean, we saw that big alligator back there, and now we got one swimming. So they could be all underneath us right now. And I'm not necessarily scared or afraid of alligators, but I don't really want to swim in murky water with them. I have swam in murky water with them, and I've come basically face to face with a pretty big one underwater while scuba diving in South Florida. It's not the most fun to do that, and I'd prefer not to. So there's a lot of down trees and a lot of down stumps, so you really got to be careful through here. Look, she just went underwater, so I have no idea where she's at right now. So you definitely don't want to fall in this area. And she's somewhere underneath me right now. Big stump, and I'm going really fast. Please don't fall in. Okay. There's another alligator in the woods back here. A pretty big one too. I'm gonna leave her alone, but she's back there in the woods basking in the sun. And it's so pretty through here. Oh, there's a baby alligator. 2, 3 baby alligators, which means mama alligator is somewhere nearby. She might be in these trees. She might be over here on the bank. It could be that one over there. But she's definitely in the area when you see baby alligators. There was 3 of them right there. That could be mama right there. There's another one back here. She's right here in the woods. There's honestly no telling. I mean, there's so many alligators in this area. More alligators right there. 2 babies that are on the bank. And then one over here. I don't think you can see it on my GoPro. And I don't really feel like pulling my phone out right here in case they drop it. So for now, I'm just gonna film on the GoPro, but there are little alligators along the bank. Alligators slipping down into the bank. And these are just the alligators that we're seeing basking out in the sun. You know, they could be all underneath us. We saw that one swimming in front of us earlier, and then she dove down and went down to the bottom to hide from us. They could be anywhere out here. They could be just on the other side of these bushes. They could be underneath us. Hannah is also keeping track of how many turtles we've seen today. And right now we're at 67, and our record was 112 on the Ichetuckney River a few years ago. It's a little game we like to play while we're out here. Like I said earlier, the further downstream we go, the bigger the alligators that you'll see. And we got our biggest one hanging out right here on this log. She is huge. She's hissing at us. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Yeah, that's her way of telling us, get out of here. And we're gonna do just that. Hannah's not even looking at her. If she comes at you, let me know so I can get it on video. And that's what they do during mating season. They get very territorial and they like their space. They don't care if you're coming downriver or not. They're gonna hiss at you and tell you to move along. I literally said, sorry, I'm choking up water. If I knew there was no alligators in here, I would swim. And for the first time in over 15 years of paddleboarding, I finally fell in the water. But I just hit this stump out of nowhere. And I went neck deep into this water. Oh, everything is soaked. My phone, my towel. That caught me off guard. I wish I had it on video. I went flying into this water. I mean, I'm not joking. I said, if I knew there was no alligators in here, I would definitely swim. Boom, fell right in. So I hopped back on my board pretty quickly. And that was fun. Now I'm soaked, but it feels good. Whew. All right, well, that was fun. You can see all of this eelgrass flowing along the bottom of this spring run. And this is what a spring run is supposed to look like. There's supposed to be really healthy eelgrass that just flows along the whole way. And the same goes for the headspring. You'll see in some of the springs where they allow swimming, it's all white sand and it's very beautiful. Naturally, there's supposed to be eelgrass there. And if you allow people to swim, or if you allow boaters in shallow water, over time, this eelgrass will get ripped up. And in some springs throughout Florida, there's rivers that manatees migrate to, and they don't allow swimming, such as the Silver River, where I do my clear kayaking tours. If they allowed swimming there, over time, this eelgrass would get ripped up. The manatees might not have anything to eat. So a healthy spring always has eelgrass in it. There's a really big largemouth bass down here in the fish bed. So there's an anhinga right here that just got out of the water, and it's got that really sharp beak on it, and it uses that beak to spear fish underwater. Anhingas lack that natural oil that ducks have on their feathers that allows them to stay dry after they've been in the water. So after about 30 minutes or so of swimming underwater and hunting for fish, the anhinga has to come out and dry itself off. Otherwise, too much water will build up on its feathers and it will actually become too dense and start to sink in the water a little bit. There's an alligator that it just swam that way. I don't know if you could see that. I'm turning around because there's a baby raccoon over here. Let me see if I can see it. Hey, little guy. I think we're gonna take a swim break. Look at this cool little area to hang out in. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting out here and hanging out. I wish I would have fallen in earlier right here and not back in the alligator infested waters. You want to get out here and swim? This is why I love Florida. You can just find your own little natural lazy river and drift down. And it's so refreshing and so nice. We are out in the middle of nowhere right now, and it's just this tropical paradise all around us. I don't think it gets too much better than this. Hey. It's an alligator that was just on the other side of these bushes. I didn't have a chance to turn on my camera. We've seen so many alligators today. Earlier I mentioned the most turtles we've seen on a single paddle at Ichetucknee was 112. And we officially broke the record. I think we're at 116 now. We've seen just coming downstream on this run. And we're definitely in the 20s for alligators, or at least close to 20. I haven't kept track of those, but I'll get the number later. But there's so much wildlife out here. What have we seen so far? We've seen alligators, we saw a raccoon, so many turtles, tons of bird species. We saw that great blue heron with the bass in its mouth. My favorite animal of all time is an alligator, so it's always nice to see them out and about, living their best life on the bank or in the water. And we're officially at mile 6. We're trekking along, we're getting close to the finish line, which is Wekiwa Springs. And it's gonna feel so nice getting in that spring water and swimming around. I got so excited. I've never seen a black bear in the wild in Florida before, but it's just wild hogs. I heard something walking in the woods, so I knew it was a deer or something, and then I could just see black fur moving through these trees, and I was like, no way. Unfortunately, it was just wild hogs. This is just paradise through here. Look at how beautiful it is. It almost looks fake. Look at the green on these trees. The clear water, it's so calm and peaceful through here. We've gone almost 7 miles now. We just saw the first person we've seen since we left the King's Landing area. It's just been nothing but us and nature out here. It's amazing. I just said to Hannah, oh listen, there's a baby alligator. And I thought, I wonder where the mom is. There's a big alligator. We already passed it. There's a big alligator just right here on the bank. There's another raccoon over here in the lily pads, or some kind of small animal. Oh yeah, it's a little raccoon inside here. Wow. The mainland is probably 50 yards over there, and it came all the way through these lily pads to come out here to look for food. I guess it could have come from this side and just swam across the river. I'm sure y'all are tired of listening to me talk about alligators and clear water, but we finally made it to the Wakiva River. If we kept going down this way, you would just follow the Wakiva River, and the headspring is just right up here. So we got 1 more mile until we make it to the headspring. Now that we're going up the spring run, you can really see the algae growing along the bottom. And a main factor in this is fertilizers in our yards and golf courses and agriculture. But anything we put into our grass, eventually it's going to seep down into the Floridan aquifer and it'll find its way to the springs. Excess nitrates cause this overgrowth in algae. So I try to be mindful about not putting fertilizer in my yard. I try to do my part and, you know, help protect our Florida springs. And hopefully from these videos that I'm making, you can learn something about how to protect our Florida springs. And maybe you didn't know about the fertilizer. Maybe you didn't know about the excess nitrates that causes this algae to happen in our Florida springs. But that's the whole point of this channel and the reason I'm going to 500 springs. I want to spread awareness about the Florida springs and some of the things that harm them. Oh, there's an alligator. If you can do your part and help protect little guys like that and all of the other wildlife that we've seen today, that'd be greatly appreciated. We have seen so many alligators. There's one hiding in the grass over here. Don't know if you're able to see it, but he's running parallel along with this log. I can see Wekiwa Springs up here. We finally made it to the head spring. We did a total of 9.5 miles today, which is insane. That's the furthest I've ever paddled. Oh, there's a big gator over here. Oh, there's another one right here. There's one alligator here with two babies I see right here. So there's 3 alligators. And then there's a big one swimming over here. It's one of the biggest we've seen today. Maybe the biggest. So years ago, there was a woman that came out of the swimming area, which is on the other side of the bridge, and she was just swimming out here. I think she got her arm bitten off by an alligator. Thankfully, there was a kayaker in the area and he came over and helped her as she was getting attacked, and the alligator swam off, but I think her arm was bitten off, and I don't know if that alligator was ever caught and killed or what, but it's kind of eerie knowing that that could be the alligator that ripped that woman's arm off years ago. We have finally made it after 9.5 miles, and I am so excited to get off of my paddleboard and get in the water and swim in some natural spring water. This was a long journey to get here, but whew, we made it. It's a busy day and there's a lot of people here. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. I'm just going to get my camera and we're going to dive underwater.